Good afternoon, everyone. The webinar will begin in just a moment. Thank you all for joining us. We'll begin in just a moment. Welcome to ACF United, Focus on Country Club Chefs, Best Practices in the Future of Club Food Service. Thank you, chefs, for joining us today from across the country for this important discussion. We know that our food service industry, including your clubs, are facing an unprecedented crisis. We have all been impacted by COVID-19 in many ways, and there will be challenges ahead. Please know that your ACF community is here for you. Today, we'll discuss how leading your food service operations in clubs differs in many ways from food service in restaurants and other dining operations. Clubs must provide a wide variety of dining experiences, ranging from poolside snacks to banquets to golf tournaments to fine dining. Member satisfaction and revenue are also high-pressure challenges faced by club chefs, made even more challenging due to the restricted service and closed dining rooms of the crisis. American Culinary Federation represents the largest association of professional chefs in North America, including you. Before we begin, as a note, we've received many questions via email in advance, and so we'll be taking questions from you, the viewers, as we are able. Please use the chat function on the webinar to collaborate with each other and the Q&A button to pose questions to our ACF panelists. Let's meet our speakers, a truly incredible panel of professionals that I'm so honored to have us join today. They all have incredible resumes, so I apologize that we've had to shorten them just for the sake of time so we can get to as many questions as possible. Chef Charles Carroll is an award-winning chef, author, and podcaster. He is the executive chef at River Oaks Country Club in Houston, which enjoys the reputation as being rated as one of the top 5 country clubs in the US. Chef Carroll was previously executive chef at Oak Hill Country Club, the Balsams Grand Resort and Hotel in New Hampshire, a 4-diamond resort. And Chef Carroll is also a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America. He has served as coach, manager, and mentor for many ACF regional and national culinary Olympic teams and has been a part of their great success. Chef has received over 70 national and international awards, including being the representative who received the ACF President's Medallion 3 times. Chef is also the national winner of the ACF Chef Professionalism Award. He is an ACF Certified Executive Chef, a member of the American Academy of Chefs, and has been inducted into the Honorable Order of the Golden Toque, in addition to receiving numerous other accolades, way too many to list in this brief bio. Chef Melinda Burrows has been the executive chef at Hickory Hills Country Club in Springfield, Missouri for quite some time. She began her career at Seattle Central Community College Culinary Arts Program, and upon completion, she spent a year studying under the best French chefs and received her Diplôme de Patisserie and Diplôme César Ritz. Chef Burrows credits ACF as an integral part of her professional development and has earned her Certified Executive Chef and Certified Culinary Administrator designations. Previous to club, Chef held many roles in food service, such as campus executive chef for Wichita State University. She worked in catering as a food stylist for television shows. And I thought this was pretty amazing too. She was also the traveling chef for Sir Paul McCartney, Phil Collins, In Excess, and personal chef to the members of Guns N' Roses, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and Pearl Jam. She's been married for almost 30 years and is the mother of 4 boys. Chef Scott Craig is an ACF Certified Executive Chef and Certified Culinary Administrator, and is currently Director of Culinary Operations and Executive Chef of the Platinum-ranked Myers Park Country Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. He has also worked as Executive Chef at Chevy Chase Club and River Hills Country Club and many more. Chef Craig attended Virginia Tech University before beginning his career and also continues his education at the Culinary Institute of America and Johnson Wales University. Chef Craig has also earned a silver medal at the Culinary World Cup in Luxembourg in 2018. And Chef Craig also competed earlier this year at the 2020 IKA Culinary Olympics in Stuttgart as part of the award-winning ACF Culinary Team USA.
All right.
Chef Nick Barrington is the executive chef at East Lake Golf Club in Georgia. He is a certified executive chef through the ACF and is also a certified culinary evaluator. And for the past 21 years before coming to East Lake Golf Club, he served as the chef for Arnold Palmer's Bay Hill Club and Lodge in Orlando, Florida. Chef Barrington has won numerous national and international medals, and he is currently the president of the ACF Atlanta chapter. He's also married to his high school sweetheart and also has a daughter who is working in the culinary field. Chef Richard Crisanti is the executive chef at Shadowwood Country Club. He has over 25 years of experience in the country club industry. Prior to that, he was executive chef at the Bay Colony Club in Naples, Florida. Chef graduated with honors from Johnson Wales University with a degree in culinary arts and food service management and began his career in hotels and resorts before moving into the country club arena. He is an ACF certified executive chef and certified culinary administrator and was also inducted into the AAC, American Academy of Chefs. In 2017, he was awarded a presidential medallion at ACF National Convention, and he has also been Chef of the Year and president of his local chapter. Plus, he's married to one of my most favorite culinary educators as well. So appreciate you all being here. I am Jackie Pressinger, ACF Director of Strategic Partnerships, and I hope you're all ready to get started. Truly an amazing panel, and thank you all for donating your time to be here today to help educate the ACF community. So at first, I'd love to go around. If you could just tell us a little bit about your club, location, size, anything that stands out about the food service, and maybe also some things that your club has been experiencing over this past month due to the restrictions on restaurants and food service. So Chef Crisanti, would you like to kick us off? And I'm gonna unmute you if I can. All right.
I got it. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the executive chef for a pretty good sized club, Shadowwood Country Club, Bonita Springs, Florida, just north of Naples. We have 2 clubhouses and 3 restaurants. We have 2,400 members, 3 golf courses, 16 tennis courts, a full service country club, and unprecedented times right now, especially right in the middle of season when we were going through our men's legacy and finishing that up, and then the whole coronavirus started, and we had to really go to a full-size grocery store, doing grocery orders 7 days a week, and to-go orders for lunch and dinner 7 days a week, and we continue to do that at this time. So.
Well, thank you. And Chef Carroll, would you mind telling us about your club and what you've been experiencing over the past month or so?
I'm sure it's much of the same, but thank you and hello to everybody. Hope everybody's safe and families are well. We have around 1,800 members. We have a golf course with driving range and also a huge practice facility. International tennis tournament, I was just explaining to Nick that we had to cancel 1 week right after we started going into closing down. We had to cancel the international tennis tournament. Of course, everything was built up, right? The whole villages were built and everything, and so there's a lot of heartache there. We canceled, and we have a large fitness center, 20 some odd, obviously a lot of tennis, clay courts, and all service courts, and huge food to go programs now. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but and then we had some challenges too. A few members did contract the virus, and then we probably have tested up to 4 or 5 employees. Thank God all of them have been negative, but there's been a roller coaster ride of opening and closing.
Right. All right. Yeah, certainly tough times. Chef Barrington, the same question to you.
Seeing I'm the executive chef for a golf club, I'm a little bit different. Instead of a country club, I'm a golf. So we represent and circle around golf. It's an executive club. So instead of traditional members, we have Coca-Cola, AT&T, Rolex. Those are our member base and everything. So, and also our club is a nonprofit. Our club is majorly based to give back to the community. So we don't make any money at the club for basis. It's strictly for an amenity to our corporate members. So once this hit, we kind of got put into a situation of being safe for our corporate members. We shut down like a lot of the clubs, but instead of transitioning into giving food and service to our corporate members who generally have memberships at other clubs in the Atlanta area, we transitioned my employees and my chefs to go help other clubs in the area. And then since I'm the president of the ACF Atlanta chapter, we went ahead and transitioned into how can we help those clubs and restaurants transition into a different model of like Chef Carroll and Richard were saying, everything of the to-go package, the grocery store package. And then from there, our staff began doing other things in the community to try to give back. So we try to stay with our model at Eastlake of giving back and helping the community. So that's kind of where we've been at so far. Currently don't have plans to probably open until middle of next month. We're transitioning, again, all those individuals and just trying to support the clubs that are surrounded in our community.
Right, and I've been hearing all the great things that you and your chapter have been doing for the community and the club. So thank you for that. Chef Burrows, same question to you.
Can you unmute me?
You're good.
Am I good? I'm in Springfield, Missouri, and we have about 650 memberships. We are a private member-owned country club, golf, tennis, pool. We are actually preparing to do a soft opening, gradual opening here on May 5th. So we have plans to open our fitness center on Monday with no classes. The 5th, we're going to open a dining room. We're taking 5 outlets and combining them into one area with additional outdoor patio seating. Our last night of service in the club was March 17th. And March 18th, we began curbside only to-goes with, expanded sanitation behaviors that we've all heard. Just increasing our emphasis on food safety. I have 16 Serve Safe certificates in my kitchen, and I just tell my staff, we're Serve Safe certified, act like it, be it, promote it. We adjusted our operating hours down. We adjusted our staffing. Staggered staffing. We know who's here. The clubhouse is closed to members, since the 18th. And all these things have been working. We've had one member with the virus who was on a ventilator for 19 days. It was very scary. He was fighting for his life, and he is home and recovering. So that was our big scare. But, Hickory is a family feeling, and the members are excited to get back, and they understand that we are doing the best that we can. And, it's really forged deeper relationships with the staff that's been here this whole time. So we are opening up for hiring and looking to add to our family. So we're ready for, positive change.
Absolutely, and thank goodness to hear of the recovery of your member. For sharing that. And Chef Craig, if you could answer the same question.
Yeah, of course. So we're here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have 1,200 members. I think about 93% of those members live within a 2-mile radius. So we're kind of a neighborhood club. We're a full-service club, golf, tennis, fitness. I think our last day of service was March 13th. We closed for the weekend, did a deep cleaning, and then reopened on the 17th as curbside. So we've offered curbside and limited a la carte every evening or 6 days a week. We do Saturday grocery pickup, utilizing some local farms. 25 local farms come together for a weekly order. And that's been well received. I think on average, we sell about 900 items each Saturday. And then we've been more active with some charities that we were previously affiliated with in the community. Since our leftovers aren't going to the break room any longer, everything's prepackaged in there with single-use utensils and plates and all of that. We now take our leftover product and just move it to the community and distribute that amongst 3 different charities. So it's been great to see a lot of our culinary team step up as leaders, and we've only furloughed, I think, about 8 of our 60 culinary staff, and those were voluntary. But yeah, it's interesting times.
Absolutely. So I guess some of you have touched on this a little bit, Chef Burrows and Chef Craig just did, but when speaking about, you know, how you've had to adapt to the dining room closures, whether that's carry out to go, delivery, as you just mentioned, some of the grocery and produce and farm items. I'd love to hear from some of the other chefs too, what things you might be doing to maintain revenue or service to your members as well. And so, Chef Carroll, could you fill us in on what you're doing over at your club?
You know, I'm sure that everyone's in the same boat, and if there's all the other club chefs that are out there, we're in a very demanding world where, and we're expected to have service above and beyond for our members. And so I think just about everybody listening, and certainly on the panel, if there's such a thing as a virtual country club, we're it. Everything from every single department, not just culinary, but tennis and fitness, and we're doing videos that are being sent out to all the members twice a week. We're doing culinary demonstrations, and we're matching up food kits that we sell to the members, and then they take them home and then they cook them, and then they send us pictures of their final platter, and we give out an award for who won the best one. And we also link that to a lot of them to our smaller vendors, our family-owned vendors, and so we extend the pricing that they give us to our members, and all that money goes directly to the family-owned vendors. So we're supporting them and giving the virtual kind of fun to the members. So cookie cutting classes and daily. And as far as food to go, we have 3 different programs. The one I just mentioned, the culinary demonstrations. We have a huge menu a la carte, which is a little over 30 items. And then we have a family size food to go packet that we're doing as far as that's concerned. And then around the holidays, Easter kits and anything to keep the kids busy, the club is doing it. So it's kind of an idea of a few of the things that we're doing.
Sure. Yes. Well, that's great. Certainly ways to keep people engaged and entertained during this tough time too. And Chef Crisanti, are you doing anything similar or other things at your club?
We are. I think that, you know, the panelists, all of us are basically doing some different things. We've come up with, our members love turkey. Okay. It's like on a monthly basis, we would do like a turkey happy hour or so. What we're doing weekly to increase numbers and just kind of give them the opportunity to still enjoy what they enjoy on a monthly basis. We've themed out menus on Monday night. So last Monday we did 450 turkey dinners to go. We did 250 Italian dinners this past Monday. Next Monday we're doing prime rib. And this is in addition to our to-go menu that has 30 different items or 32 items. We also are doing meal packages where, you know, you can come and get a rotisserie chicken dinner and you know, all the fixings, and they pick it up. So whether it's individual or meal packages, we're doing that. I think more than anything, our membership is just over the top appreciative of what we're doing. We're on the front lines, as they call it. We're providing a service to them so they don't have to go to the grocery stores and they don't have to go to Publix. They pull up to the porte-cochere, they pop the trunk. We have front of the house staff that are putting it in the trunk. They drive off. There's no interaction really, and they feel really, really safe. And I think that service is really what's important to them, and, you know, providing that. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. And before we move on to the next question, any of the other panelists have anything that they'd like to add about anything special that you're doing for your members or at your club at this time? Okay. So kind of staying on the same topic, but I know that, due to the concern about COVID and potentially spreading the virus, I'm assuming that a lot of your club members might also be in sort of that high risk demographic as well, of being baby boomers and wanting to stay a little bit more secluded until it's safe to do so. What are you thinking? Because I know that there's social distancing, so that kind of limits a lot of things that are expected at clubs. I mean, if that's buffets or action stations or even self-service items, when we kind of go back into the new normal, how do you think you might be handling this, at least on the short-term basis, when everyone is allowed to come back into dining rooms? So for that, I'd love to go to Chef Burrows, if you don't mind.
Sure. So we are doing the Missouri stated occupancy is 160 people based on our square footage. We don't anticipate having 160 people in here on Tuesday. We are taking our ballroom and we will set up seating for about 50 spread out, and then probably an additional 50 out on the patio. So we are actually waiting today from our mayor to deliver some specific restrictions on social distancing, but we'll anticipate the 6 feet will stay in place, and we will abide by that. So no buffets planned in the near future. As Chef Carroll said, Easter was a huge deal. Mother's Day, go menus just went out yesterday in our weekly email, and we anticipate doing a lot of those to go with a lot of special things for mom. And I've got an all-day menu that we are going to put in place, which will expand on the carry-out menu. Reservations only, no walk-ins, no guests. So we don't want to be the police, but we also want to keep our members safe. And we'll gradually build into the members being able to bring guests. Our golfers have been able to go on the golf course walking only. Starting Friday, they'll be able to use a cart. And the pro shop will open up. People have been playing tennis. Obviously, you're social distancing with tennis. So we just plan to delay the opening of the pool. I'm not sure what that looks like in terms of limiting the numbers of members out there, and if they're going to be on times, 2-hour time intervals. So that's still to be determined. But with the May 5th kind of opening, these are our general plans. We're having a big staff meeting on Friday to go over all these details and, again, just enforce safety and sanitation and things like that.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And Chef Barrington, I'd love to pose a similar question to you. What do you foresee this looking like in the short term as you reopen? I know you're in a unique situation with Georgia where they're telling everyone it's safe to open. So I know it's kind of up to the GM or the members or to whether they're going to go in that direction. So if you could please address that, that would be great.
Lovely being in Atlanta, Georgia, with the headlines that have been coming out with us, kind of jumping the gun on some stuff. Being the chapter president of ACF and everything, I began reaching out to all the chefs, both restaurant, country clubs in the Atlanta area, and I keep in contact with them quite a bit. We're on Zoom meetings probably twice a week, 40, 50 of us. And currently, even though they allowed us to open up on Monday, approximately 95% of the restaurants opted out. They were all shooting for about the 12th, the 13th to go ahead and do any type of opening. They restricted us quite a bit to 10 people per 500 square feet. So it was opening, but very limited. And obviously most restaurants and clubs can't do that. So they're sticking to a model that's been successful. And like Chef Richard said and everything, and Scott and Charles, everybody is very respectable, and all the members have been very happy with what we've been doing, trying to be out on the front line, helping give what we can. Again, with my club, we weren't able to offer those options, being we have a very high elite-ended group of members that for executives that do not want to go ahead and have any chance of potentially contracting anything. So they decided to go ahead and make sure we are closed. But all of our employees and members have been going out and helping in the community, other clubs, into the restaurants. So yeah, we don't see any type of buffets like Chef Melinda said. There's no buffets, no situations for quite a long time on that. But we are and have sat down on Zoom meetings and redid our banquet menu and our offerings that have been sent out to our corporate members. So they are aware of what we can offer in the near future along those lines. So we have modified things that we could do along those lines while still following the guidelines that Atlanta, Georgia has stated for us. And then again, we'll just go ahead and reevaluate every week. We want to go ahead and open, but again, we have to be extremely cautious as we move forward. And all the restaurants and clubs in the area are doing the same thing. They don't want to take the chances of going ahead and having any type of outbreak because they took a step too quick, too fast.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I guess with that too, I know we are coming up, someone already mentioned Mother's Day, which I know has got to be traditionally a very busy time for many of your clubs. Does anyone have anything specifically that they're doing special that you might want to share with some of the other club chefs who are tuning in that they might be able to consider and run during this time?
I'd like to share something, Jackie.
Yes, please.
So we are going to get the names of the mothers, and the management team is going to personalize a card with all of our signatures and include that note with a box of handmade truffles for each mom. So that's a little special touch that we're doing for the moms for this Mother's Day.
That's fabulous. Is anyone else running anything special that they'd like to contribute?
Sure. Sorry, am I on mute? No, I'm good. So what we've been doing, we started with Easter, and then we do this with some products throughout the week, is we'll record messages about the products, the preparations, preparing the different items. We'll embed that message with a QR code and then stick that onto the packaging. And so then, like for Easter, for example, when they get their takeout packaging, they can just open up their camera, scan the QR code, and it takes them to a message from our staff, just wishing them well and letting them know that we're here for them.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. Well, that'll certainly make them feel special on Mother's Day. So I will look forward to happier times for next Mother's Day and having everyone back in your dining rooms. So one of the questions that came in on the Q&A of the chat from one of your fellow club chefs, and I'm going to kind of leave this open in case anyone wants to jump in and answer it. They're wondering if any of your clubs are waiving any of the F&B minimums until you're open again fully.
Hickory doesn't have minimums.
Okay.
Shadowwood doesn't have minimums.
Right. So it looks like the consensus, at least with this panel, is that either there's no minimums or for those clubs that do, they're making other arrangements for the members to be able to spend those funds as well. So, okay. So let's move on into one of the other questions. And I think we should definitely touch upon the sanitation protocols. So I know that Chef Burrows, you kind of had mentioned a little bit about that. Chef Craig, if you wouldn't mind letting us know a little bit about anything new that you've implemented in the sanitation SOPs.
Sure. We reached out to a company that's local to our area. They're nationwide, but I guess I won't say the name. I don't want to put any advertisement out there. But what we do is we use a 40 micron fogger that negatively charges particles, and then we run a sanitation solution through that. By negatively charging the particles, it doesn't just kind of lay on a surface, but rather wraps around the surface. It's the same type of fogger and solution that's used in outpatient operating rooms the night before surgery is done. And so we're using that throughout the clubhouse. We're using it on high touch places like our chairs, which are all hand carved and have tons of nooks and crannies, door handles. And then we can measure that. We can measure how sanitary something is with a light meter. It measures RLUs, real light units. I think the CDC recommended level is 30 or below for invasive surgery. And we're testing 30 and below on all of our surfaces that we use this chemical on. It's an ammonia and chlorine based quat sanitizer. So the really neat thing about it is that it kills everything from norovirus, coronavirus, all the way down to MRSA instantly, but then also destroys the protein film that harbors bacteria for another 5 days. So in theory, you could just apply it every 5 days and you have a sanitary surface. We're applying that on a nightly basis and to all of our takeout packaging as well.
Wow. Okay. So I think those are all fabulous steps to take, especially when earning back diner confidence with your members. Any of the other chefs on the panel like to share anything else that they're doing differently in their kitchen right now when it comes to sanitation? Okay. So we'll move on then to a similar question, and if you wanted to come back to it, you certainly can. But one of the questions that came in from the audience has to do with social distancing in the kitchen. So we will pose that question then. Chef Carroll, would you mind addressing that for the viewers?
Sure. And just one thing I like to mention too, that we talked about the minimums. We don't have minimums, but there are dues, right? So the dues haven't changed. I would like to give a shout out to my own club and the members that that they have been paying 400 employees for 40 hours the entire time. Culinary and the golf maintenance is really the two that, and some administrative staff, obviously, are the only ones that have been working. So the club has been amazing, which most all of our clubs are, right, in that respect. And so, and we're opening, we have been open all along with food to go. And this Friday, we're opening up 2 restaurants in our tennis facility. Golf has been open for about a couple of weeks. So I just wanted to kind of touch base on how blessed we are to be with some amazing properties. As far as that, everything else is concerned, I mean, we're doing an awful lot of sanitation as well. I mean, with the opening of the restaurant, there's nothing on the tables. There's no salt and pepper shakers. Nothing can be placed on the table. And once the member comes in, then the table is set. It is family first, right? I mean, so the reservations are 6 and under, and it has to be per household. So you can't have guests at the table. And there's a lot of other restrictions, of course, taping off the spaces. The tables have been restricted to 25% in the dining rooms. We're going to go out, extend out into the outdoors as well. As far as the kitchens are concerned, we have spread out the stations so that they are 6 feet as best that we can. And all the restrictions that I'm sure everybody's doing with the mask and the gloves, as we all do. Temperatures are being logged every day when the employees come in. We take their temperatures, and they have a form that they have to fill out stating that they're healthy or that they have no symptoms. And we also spread our kitchens out a little bit. So we have 6 different kitchens. So we try to spread our teams out in that respect. And then one last thing we've done is we've gone to, because you got to think about, we have 400 employees, but maybe there's maybe about 80 that are actually on property. So how do you make that fair for everybody? We've been going with a 3 days on, 4 days off, working our staff 10 hours a day, the ones that are working. And that's been, so they're working 30, but getting paid for 40, and they got 4 days off. So that's been working pretty well. Although starting Friday, a lot of that will change.
Right. Wow. Certainly lots to think about as we reopen and welcome everyone back. So I'm sure we'll end up coming back to COVID, but I also want to start thinking about the future and about what's coming next. I know that a lot of questions that had come in were showing that although it's a great majority on the webinar who are country club chefs, we also have culinary students who are tuning in. We also have chefs who may be, unfortunately, may have lost their roles and who are now taking a good look at coming into the country club industry. So I'm wondering if we might be able to go around, if you might be willing to share anything with those who are considering making this change. So ultimately, if it's some things that are positive and things that might be surprising when it comes to chefs who are looking to go into the clubs. So Chef Barrington, would you mind if I started with you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for students, and I think a couple of us were talking before about how it was difficult to go ahead and find some chefs previous to COVID-19. And as you mentioned, a lot of them have been either laid off, furloughed, or have been let go. It's interesting to see and everything that during this time, a lot of the chefs have had the opportunities to do something that a lot of the country clubs already do, which is give service to members. Now we're just going ahead and doing it and everything on a voluntary basis. I've had over 100 of chefs that have reached out to me since mid-March, and we've transitioned them into places that maybe are paying, but maybe aren't paying everything in the giving back situation and everything. Whether it's at country clubs that are making meals for first responders, whether it's we have an ATL family meal here in Atlanta that we put together, whether they're volunteering there. So my suggestion would be to volunteer. I've already known at least over a couple dozen chefs that have been brought on and kept now. They want to go ahead and keep these chefs that have come to volunteer and give their time to go ahead and give back. It's shown those chefs at the clubs and it's shown those chefs at restaurants that, this is an individual and everything that may have gone ahead and been let go, been furloughed, but is chosen to go ahead and not stay at home, but has gone ahead and chosen to go ahead and step up to the front line and do what's needed to go ahead and help during this pandemic. So there's an opportunity there. Again, another silver lining to what's currently going on in the country, but it's an opportunity for them to go ahead and take the chance, take the initiative to go ahead and potentially work for somebody or with somebody that they haven't had a chance to before. Yeah.
Great, wonderful. And Chef Crisanti, would you mind taking this question as well?
Absolutely. I transitioned into country clubs 25 years ago. I really found that country clubs had more variety. You had variety of restaurants and banquets and different events going on and wine dinners. And so I enjoyed that variety of being able to move through different outlets and different restaurants and get experience in those areas. And once I really experienced it, I didn't want to make a change. I didn't want to go back to a restaurant that ran a menu for 6 months or a year, the same menu. It's too boring for me. It's too repetitive, and I wanted that variety. And that's why I've always enjoyed being in a country club. We have a captured audience, and they expect us to change menus every 2 to 4 weeks, and you have to really be creative, and staff enjoys that. And when you get them involved, they take ownership and they enjoy it. We're moving forward. We're really in a different situation than some of you, because once Mother's Day rolls around, our season is over. So we ended up having to lay off 50 employees in the kitchen, and hopefully in the summertime, if we decide to open the restaurant, and when we decide to open up the restaurant slowly, we'll bring a few back. But there's really not much of a choice for us moving forward until we start to come back in September. And that's when a lot of the staff comes back. So that was probably one of the hardest things for us to kind of watch fold out, because we knew that, if this thing continued on for a few months, these people might be out of work for 6 to 7 months. So tough situation.
Very, very tough. And Chef Burrows, the same question to you.
I've worked in lots of different culinary arenas. Country clubs are very creative, challenging. Like Chef Crisanti said, the members are going to come back every night. You do have that captive audience. If they have a great dining experience, if it's not so great, you are accountable every night for that experience. And so, my team and I strive to provide memorable, experiences through dining and give the members, a great reason to come back. And I would say to somebody looking to change from, a restaurant or hospitals or something, country club's not driven by tourism, or at least ours isn't, and it's private member owned. We don't believe we're going to shut our doors. And, you know, it's kind of job security is how I look at it as well. And I'm just thoroughly enjoying my experience as a chef here in this venue. And I would encourage others to investigate that. And I am hiring too.
Great news. Chef Carroll, would you mind sharing?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, you heard me touch on it before. You know, I think there's 300,000 hospitality folks in Houston or in Texas that are laid off or furloughed. That's scary. And there's around 12,000 restaurants, and they're expecting 35 to 40% of them to close the doors. That's emotional. That's to think all the work that goes into everything that we do, and to think that those poor people out there, their dreams are being wiped out, and the families that they're trying to supporting it's devastating. Country clubs are a different world. I've been in the country club. I've been here 20 years, and I was at Oak Hill for 4, so close to 24 years, right? It's a beautiful place to be. It's very demanding. It's very, very demanding, but the rewards are amazing. The members are amazing for the most part, and they take good care of their people. I mean, they've been paying, like I said, our staff, 400 employees, for almost 4 or 5 weeks now. So I would heavily recommend country clubs for sure. And we have a few positions that are opening. And some of you, I saw a text earlier on my phone that saying, what do you do with some of the people that are trying to cheat the system right now? And so that's going to happen. You know, people checking off that, hey, my throat is a little sore, and we have to send them home, right? Isn't that crazy? So now we got people trying to collect on them, you know, to collect that money and take advantage of the clubs. And that gets emotional too, because we are so protective of how special our club is. It kind of, you know, at first you get a little upset, but my message is to those people is don't worry about it, because they're writing their own ticket. You know, good things happen to good people, and things will work itself out.
Absolutely, great advice. And finally, Chef Craig, would you like to share?
Sure. I mean, I remember in 2001, I've been in clubs for about 22 years, but in 2001, I thought, you know, I might try something different. Started looking around. We were in a recession. Clubs were hiring. 2008, I thought about making a transition into another part of the industry. I was looking around. Again, we're in a recession, but clubs were hiring. And so, you know, that's the wonderful thing about clubs are the, you know, it's the resilience that they have and the security that they offer. And, you know, as our team and I decided in the beginning of this, you know, we'll get to the other side of this. Our club's 100 years old. You know, we'll be remembered for how we got to the other side of it. And our members have been incredible in supporting our endeavors in the community. And so that's been wonderful, you know, and being a part of a club has allowed us to be part of something bigger. You know, it's a little bit different from restaurants, as chefs have touched on earlier. It's challenging. You have to constantly reinvent yourself, which is exciting and fun. But also there's more opportunities, since we're also subsidized by dues, by golf, by tennis, to run more favorable margins, to pursue continuing education. And so, you know, I think clubs are a wonderful vehicle for growth for anyone who's early in their career. And for me, you know, trying to figure out a path forward, there's all these boxes I want to check off. Clubs have allowed me to do that. Specifically, this club that I've been a part of for about 12 years has been amazing. And you get to know these families, and they become your family. And so, you know, again, when something like this happens, you try to figure out how you can take care of them, because they always take such good care of our staff. But no, we love our club, and we love the club industry.
Excellent. Thank you. And another question that we had received in advance, again, was from a culinary student. And the question they were asking was sort of about how to identify a mentor. But I think, you know, in this profession in general, it's so important. I think all of us probably have someone that we really owe a lot to. And I was wondering if any of the chefs on the panel might want to touch upon mentorship, either of your own or of what you provide in your club. I'd love to hear who inspired you or what you're doing to inspire your team. Would anyone like to jump in and go first? All right.
I'll jump in and everything.
Great.
Interesting everything for mentorship. Most people would go ahead and probably think that as a chef, your mentor is going to be a chef themselves. Sometimes everything. I was lucky enough, like I said, when I moved to Orlando to go ahead and get the job at Bay Hill Country Club for Arnold Palmer, and getting to know him over the years and learning how he took care of people, how he created partnerships, and finding out that those mentorships and those partnerships are very important, taught me a lot. He was actually one of the ones that went ahead and encouraged me to actually go to Chef Carroll's symposium years ago. Everything. So we saw that and everything, and he said and everything, you've got time, you're going. So everything. So again, everything. Chef Carroll's been a great mentor of mine, everything, and person to look up to for years. But with Mr. Palmer, everything, he created his entire business off of a handshake and his word. And I look at that a lot of times, and when I deal with purveyors or I deal with other chefs, everything, my word, my handshake is everything. So I try to do that when I go ahead and mentor individuals. And I know how other chefs treated me through the years, so I try to do the same thing in return, is go ahead and make sure that whatever I can do and everything, I keep my word. I reach out to them as much as I can. And again, everything, build that relationship with them, everything. So when times like this happen, you're able to reach out. I've been able to reach out to so many, clients and members and suppliers during this time. And it all goes back because of building those relationships and finding those mentors, both in the industry and outside the industry, that go ahead and help you grow as a person and an individual. So yeah, it's a hugely important thing. You've got to find a mentor. Find a person that you'd like to emulate, and then find out how they got there. Everything. Find that mentor.
Absolutely. Thank you. And to build on that too, and Chef Carroll, I might come to you. While we were answering that question, another one that came in from the students, which was what skills or personal attributes that they could be working on as someone who might be coming in as an entry-level cook into your kitchen.
Well, you could read one of my books. No, but I just, I've written some books on that, but you know what, I hire for the heart, and if I read some resumes and there could be all kinds of things on those resumes, but when I see a student that was willing to chew off the table, do whatever it takes to be successful, that's the one I'm going to hire. So go knock on doors and find out what it is you want to do, and find the best person in your area or in the country, that the best person that is doing that, and then go beg them for a job. Beg him or her, or just keep on knocking and knocking and knocking, and keep, even if they say no, just keep knocking, and eventually they'll say yes because of your persistence. So I would say that, and then commit yourself to 2 or 3 years with that person, and then steal their Rolodex, right? So what I mean by that is you're going to steal their Rolodex by showing up to work early and then checking with them before you leave. And when's the last time someone's checked one of the chefs here on this panel, like, hey chef, is there anything else I can do before I go home? It hardly ever happens, right? So if you start doing that, and like Nick says, volunteer for everything, your network will grow and be amazing. And one of the questions I just read there was, are there any resources? I would check with your state restaurant association. Texas Restaurant Association for us has been amazing, and they're real. The president has been a real fireball, and she's been really getting after it. So I would check with your local restaurant association. Obviously, the ACF is doing amazing things. In the club world, the CMA has amazing resources. So if you look hard enough, you'll find all the information you need that'll help you with COVID.
Well, great. Thank you for that, for sure. And Chef Burrows, before I move on to the next question, I was wondering if you might be able to touch upon the importance of mentorship or what skills young cooks could bring to your kitchen to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. So mentorship is just something I'm committed to. And my grandmother was probably my first mentor and a reason that I'm a chef and a wife of 30 years. And a wonderful chef in Seattle, Tamara Murphy, who owns, has had several restaurants, huge influence on me as a young cook. And currently in the last couple of years, some of the CMCs I look up to, Chef Loving, Chef Hall, Chef Ford. I consider them mentors. And if I could surround myself with chefs like that, I mean, you know, sky's the limit in my mind. As far as my staff, involvement, participation with ACF, the club pays for membership, supports all of us in our certification process, competitions. My executive sous chef that was with me for about 3 years, she gave me 3 years of her life, and she was able to accept a job as an executive chef in her home state of Michigan, and that's a proud moment when you see people move on and move up, and that just encourages me to continue to give back, because that's our responsibility and very fulfilling. As far as I hire for attitude, and I look for some skills and ask a few questions just to kind of throw them off. One is, if you were a piece of kitchen equipment, what would you be and why? And the last question I ask in an interview is, how do you feel about dogs?
I love it. I love it. Well, it certainly tells you a lot about a person, for sure. Well, thank you. And I know that you just mentioned competitions, and so I wanted to kind of touch upon that too. I know that all of you are great competitors, and Chef Craig, after coming back from Germany with Culinary Team USA, and then we'll come to any of the other chefs who want to jump in. What were some of the skills or key learnings that you brought back from that experience that you're able to implement or share at your club?
Sure. Chef Burrows just mentioned Jerry Ford, and yeah, that was phenomenal to work with them and experience his leadership. You know, I think, so I've been competing for about 20 or 22 years. You develop such a phenomenal skill set from competition. It's, you know, self-awareness in the kitchen, it's sanitation, it's mise en place, it's, you know, having a game plan, it's controlling variables. You know, what makes you successful in competition often will make you successful on your station or running an operation. And beyond that, I mean, you know, competition in general has just been wonderful for networking, for meeting, you know, to an earlier question, for meeting those mentors. I remember when I was young, transitioning from college to cooking, you know, went to the person who won first place and said, "Hey, I'm going to come work for you." And so, but competing specifically with Team USA, all of these kind of titans of our craft, you know, Rudy Speckham, Charles Carroll, all of these folks, you know, that I always looked up to, you know, to be able to kind of join those ranks and see what they go through. It's extraordinary. And the passion, the sacrifice, the dedication to their craft, competing with chefs at the highest level on an international level is it's an extraordinary opportunity. And I would encourage anyone, you know, to get involved now at the local level. What they're doing in Atlanta right now is incredible, you know, with these virtual competitions. It's a great way to keep it going. But yeah, you know, jump in at the local level, network, build your skill set, and build your way up.
Great. Well, thank you. And thank you for representing ACF in the United States over in Germany. We're very, very proud of all that you accomplished and the team. Anyone else want to touch on that subject before we move on? All right. Sorry, Chef Crisanti, were you trying to say something?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was muted. I wanted to circle back to country clubs and the youth coming into this industry and kind of converting over to country clubs instead. And Chef Burrows really touched on something important is country clubs probably provide the most funds for continuing education and for membership into the ACF and certification. And I think that in our career, a good chef is someone who cultivates his team and brings them through and gets them certified and helps them get certified. And even more rewarding is for those, like Chef Burrows said, that executive sous chef or chef de cuisine that moves on to be an executive chef, and you move up others, you know, in that transition, and you have multiple, you know, staff that move on and become successful and get to be an executive chef and in the position that we're in is very rewarding, but it's also a great environment to be in a country club because you're able to do that. And I think people need to know that more and more, that it's really a good environment. And we as chefs, we have a responsibility to really help our people move on.
Fabulous. Well, thank you. You convinced me. Maybe I'm coming back to industry after. Okay, so all of the questions that are coming in, and we didn't even get to you know, a 10th of the questions that were emailed in advance. So I think what this speaks to is this conversation has to continue. And so I will certainly make that pledge to continue this conversation and really get into a lot of those other questions that your fellow country club chefs have, and continue to highlight all that you do. I'm gonna come around again, just one last time, and if you just wanted to give us any of your final thoughts or anything that you'd like to share with the ACF community. So Chef Crisanti, we'll start with you then.
Okay. Well, Chef Craig touched on something really important, that, you know, this is really a difficult time. And I think as a community of chefs and through the ACF, we need to be able to lean on each other and know that we have each other's backs, and we can help each other, and we're going to get through this. It's going to take time, but we're going to get through this as a community. And, you know, I just want everyone to stay safe. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your time and for all that you do in Southwest Florida.
My pleasure.
Okay, and Chef Burrows, your final thoughts.
Well, thank you, Jackie, for being a wonderful hostess, and the ACF for providing this time with these amazing chefs. I feel very honored to be with all of you guys. Thank you. Nice to meet you all. And just, you know, eat well, be well, do what you know is right. And we are one big family, and we have to watch out for the guy in white. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Great to see you as well. And Chef Barrington, your final thoughts.
Yes, to piggyback on what Chef Burrows said and everything, we are family, and in clubs, we take care of families, and those families take care of us, and take care of us very well. So again, everything, you know, in the ACF is a family. So, you know, just like Chef Crisanti said, everything, we're going to get through this. It's going to take a little time. As executive chefs and leaders and everything, we step up to the front, try to take care of our staff, try to take care of our family. And again, so we will come out of this better on the other side. We just got to go ahead and keep our heads up and keep pushing forward.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you to you and your chapter for all the amazing things that you are doing in the Atlanta area. And Chef Craig, your final thoughts.
Sure. I would just say it's something we really haven't touched on yet, but, you know, a lot of people are losing jobs right now. And some people are food insecure and all these things. If anybody's watching that, you know, just know that anxiety is normal. You know, fear is normal. It's okay to be freaked out. If you're the executive chef and, you know, all of this weight is on you to be there for your membership, be there for your family, be there for your staff, it's tough. Don't be afraid to get help if you need it. We're all in this. We're not in the same boat, but we're in the same storm, as they say. So just take care of yourself, you know, and take care of others, but make sure you carve some time out to feel normal, and whatever that looks like. take care of yourself, and you can't lead if you're broken. You know, find help if you need it, and we'll get to the other side of this. And as Chef said, we all have each other's backs. And if I can be of assistance to anyone, don't hesitate to let me know.
Thank you, and thank you for those encouraging words so that the other chefs don't feel alone. It's also a great segue into on May 13th, we will be having an ACF United webinar, which is going to be focusing once again on healing the minds, body, and spirits of our chefs and providing resources to those who might be in need. So I hope that everyone will tune in for that as well. And Chef Carroll, your final words, please.
Yeah, I just want to thank ACF. I mean, ACF has been good to me. I couldn't do, my whole career started with ACF. So I want to thank you, Jackie, and ACF for doing this. Virtual communication has changed forever, right? So our world has changed in how we work, people working from home. I was reading a couple of the questions. So I would just like to inspire everybody to think that our world has changed. So what else do we have to do in our operations? It's not going away. I mean, think about the times you go into the store to get gas and then someone wasn't doing something, they were too close to you, or you went to pay and there was no shield or there was no sanitizer. You're already thinking, oh my God, you know, why aren't they doing this? So that mentality is going to be around probably forever. So our operations have to be ahead of the curve on that. And I think that the properties that are over exaggerating, showing our members and showing our employees that we're going above and beyond, like Craig was mentioning, the flogging, and we have sanitation teams that are going around sanitizing the entire building, the handles, and just showing those presence. That's going to be key in the future. I think food to go, people being creative with food to go, our packaging is now going to be more important than ever. What are you doing to be safe? What are you doing, the labeling and of those types of things to be ahead of the curve? I think the Uber of food and to goes in those restaurants have now changed. So I would just start thinking about that way, because it's not going away. White latex gloves for front of the house servers, so it doesn't look so, you know, like kitchen gloves, but it almost looks like a white glove service. So all those things that you can continue to show that you're moving forward is probably the way you all should be thinking. And again, thank you all, and I'm proud to be sitting on here with all you guys on the panel. I'm proud to be with all you guys today.
Well, thank you, and we're so proud and honored that you're here. Just as a reminder for those who may not have heard yet, on Monday, ACF did launch a short COVID-19 sanitation refresher course as well. So that is available for free on the ACF Online Learning Center, as well as the package, the bundle of 14 other courses, so that we welcome you to come during this time and learn and gain some more certificates that you might be able to add to your resume or your portfolio as you return to work. But I do thank all of the panelists for joining us today in this discussion, and we certainly applaud your flexibility and for sharing your successes and your fears during this time and how you best satisfy your members. So for all of you in the ACF community and beyond who are tuning in, we see you, and ACF applauds you for all that you're doing in your communities and in your kitchens. Please keep up the great work and reach out if ACF can be of support. We hope that you'll join us next Wednesday as we discuss best practices for getting rehired. We'll have a discussion with some chefs and some culinary recruiters to talk about interviews and how to make your resume more attractive as you get back to work. So please go to wearechefs.com to register for the upcoming ACF webinars for more COVID-19 information and for general ACF news. On behalf of ACF and the ACF National Office, please be safe. We look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, panelists, and everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.